Our tale begins on a dark and stormy night. Lightning carved a path through the veil of darkness for a shadowy figure. Adamar of Calithorn, a knight of the royal guard, the king's right hand. Now an outcast, running through long forgotten words from a destiny uninvited. Ahead, betwixt groaning ancient trees, lay a small cabin. Drenched and fatigued, he knocks at the door. An old, withered man cautiously opens the door and lets him into his poor abode. Offering him a seat by the fire, the old man inquires as to what Adamar is doing out during a storm such as this. Adamar hesitantly meets the old man's gaze, and in return for the shelter provided, chooses to tell this old hermit his tale.
I paced the streets at night, surrounded by the joy of lovers who walked around me hand in hand. I, alone, empty. There was a void in my soul, a suffocating blackness. Then I saw her, a true beauty, an angel clad in alabaster white. Mesmerized, I followed her. Leaping from shadow to shadow, I kept her in my sight as she headed home. Every step I took was a war waged within me, a struggle to maintain a firm grip on my lust. The sound of her door closing was the final swing in the battle I lost many streets ago. I had to see her. The balcony curtains rustled gently as I made my way into her room. I stood above her, watching her bosom lift and drop as she peacefully slept. On that night, she would be mine, my queen, forever. My teeth sunk deep in her velvet skin. The smallest river of life ran somber from the puncture on her neck, pooling on her shoulder. I drank my fill while she wailed her last mortal breaths. As her last drop of blood had left her body, the bedroom door flung open. Her husband rushed in the room, hell-bent on taking her from me. The mere thought of her not being mine was too much to bear. Before I could catch my next thought, more men ran to the husband's aid. The stench of life filled the room. My thirst for survival took over, and I made for the balcony door. 2 strides later, and I was on the street across of the estate. Her screams shook the nightly still as I watched them all drag her outside. I followed closely while the deranged mob carried her to the center of town. Before long, wood was piled and the pyre was set. She was but a whelp, a young and unfed child of the night, too weak to know just how powerful she could ever become. The flames lashed her heart as embers danced to the tune of her demise and the ecstasy of the angered crowd. Her death was on my hands, all because I wanted her to be mine. Nay, she was mine. I screamed at her ashes. Revenge! I swear revenge! She was to be avenged, or I was to die trying. The night that followed was painted red as I tore, mauled, and drank more than my fill. Even death wept at the weight of all the souls I sent his way. No man was to ever again feel the warm heartbeat of the woman he loved. Unto the darkness I have sent all their women. They will feel what I felt all this time. Their pain, their blood, their anguish, my revenge, my salvation.